Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Philip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And this is City Alpha 3.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SETI Alpha 3, a Star Trek podcast here on the Nerd Party Network. I am your host, Daniel Prue, and joining me, as always, are my special operatives, Philip and Darren. Hey, guys, how's it going?
Yes, I've been loyal to this podcast longer than I've been loyal to many other things.
It's good to hear.
I'm just logging away my opinions on these episodes deep within my mind. I dare you to try to retrieve that information, but...
Actually, before we even start that... Go ahead, Philip.
I'll just say everyone knows the charter for this podcast has a few things people don't know about.
Nobody read the fine print, apparently. But no, we'll get into that a little bit later. How's your week's been going? Darren, are you still rewatching Battlestar or watching Battlestar?
I am. I've been watching it. Let's see. What am I up to? I am on episode 13 of season 3. So I'm about half dozen away from the end of season 3 and then one more season. So it's still good. Still enjoying it.
I'm trying to remember. You're on the planet, right?
No, that was the beginning of this season. So we're past the planet. We just had the tumultuous
trial.
No, we the latest thing that happened was Dee and Apollo almost broke up because Starbucks they had the boxing episode.
Oh, that's a weird episode. I mean, I
and then the episode after that
standpoint.
Yeah. Well, and then the episode after that is when they're basically both ready to quit their marriages, but not. It's really weird. And we do some stuff with Baltar. Baltar's back, and now he's going to stay on trial. So I don't know what happens next episode, but we've seen the Eye of Jupiter. We're heading. Kara Thrace is special. But yeah, there's not a lot left. There's maybe 20. I mean,
so you have
episodes.
seen. So hang on, we do have to bring up the fact that you have seen a certain guest star who you may have recognized. Right, Philip? I'm not misplacing.
Yes, he has.
Here.
He has.
Okay.
He's seen the Admiral.
Right, the
Pegasus.
Yeah, the Pegasus Admiral.
The Pegasus.
Played by
the captain of the Pegasus, the Admiral.
I mean, I hated her guts, but I'm trying to place what else she's been in.
He didn't make the connection.
No, I made the connection with the second EXO, who was the dad from Home Alone.
Oh, okay.
That's the one that I don't remember. That's the one I connected.
No, he was the engineer.
Yeah, the engineer, but he became the EXO, third in line, then died. It's just
no, it's Michelle Forbes.
It's Michelle Forbes. It's Ensign Rowe.
Oh my
who plays
gosh,
the Admiral from the Pegasus.
You're right. I just haven't seen her in anything in decades. So
yeah, True Blood, and then Intrigue.
Well, she's good. I hated her. She's terrible. No, you're right. I didn't make that connection. She didn't have the little thing on her nose, so.
Oh.
That's what it was. How funny! Wow, man, I'm so jealous. That's some good.
I think if I had to put my personal top 5 season finales that left you shooketh, that Battlestar would be on that list with season 2, where it's a little bit of a flash forward to the planet.
Yeah,
and you're like, what?
And then
what?
It's a year later.
They just did it.
Yeah.
And then the Cylons come.
It's
and
really
then you're like,
interesting because. I mean,
and they run away.
Well, I'm loving it because you have characters getting married, you have characters having kids. It's not let's fight the Cylons this week. No, stuff happens. A lot of time has passed, and I think it was really smart because it wouldn't have been as impactful if they land on the planet and then 2 episodes later the Cylons come, which is what happens. But by doing the flash forward of 1 year later, and I love how they did fat makeup for Apollo.
Oh, poor
Apollo. Yeah.
Poor Jamie.
But it was just very clever. It's working really well, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited to find out who the final 5 are. I don't know. I
don't know if they knew either. So it's fun.
That's a flashback, though, isn't it? Because that was 2000. 8?
Yeah,
Seven?
eight to 9-ish. Yeah,
It's so funny because I remember like the marketing push, the final 5, like that was a big thing, and like it's so funny to I just got flashbacks from hearing you say that.
Well, I'm trying to remember because I don't want to spoil it, but there's a favorite moment. I don't know if it's the season. I think it's the season finale.
Well, I haven't gotten there
3,
yet.
So yeah, but it's the shot of just, without explaining, Apollo in the fighter. He meets someone, and then it just zooms out to the fight and keeps zooming out with the music playing, and then goes, and then it's just like the best shot ever.
Oh yeah, all the space stuff is really good.
Yeah.
So they're off the planet now, right?
Yeah, they are. The planet episodes is maybe 8,
but they keep
total.
Flashing back to it.
A little bit,
they'll do
yeah.
that for like half the season.
Yeah, and then like after, where like the Circle Tribunal starts just executing people collaborated with the Cylons.
But I wanted to just mention the rescue because that was the coolest, most.
Where he FTLs into atmosphere and then plummets as it releases its fighters and then zips out, and you get the sonic boom from the displaced air. Yeah, it was. Oh yeah.
Anyways,
no, they're like, Rosalind, come with us. She's like, no, I've got my ship.
No,
we're not here to talk about it. That's exciting stuff, though. That's really
it has been
exciting.
good. I'll no regrets.
What about you, Philip? Anything good going on this week?
I'm keeping up my TOS rewatch. Of course, now I'm blanking on the last episode I saw because it's been a couple days. But I guess in more recent news in the past maybe 48 hours, I did get some packages in the mail. You know, I don't tend to buy a lot of stuff, but I am anticipating buying a Triple Fiction Productions transporter room, TNG transport, which is really cool. Of course, they only make like a couple at a time. But anyway, so I'm like, but I need a Chief O'Brien figure. So I went on eBay, and I found a pack of 3, which ended up with a third figure I don't really want. So if anyone's up for a Jadzia Dax in like the regular Starfleet uniform, more than happy to give that away.
Season 1.
Yeah, but I mean, nothing against Dax, but I already have her DS9, so I don't need an extra one. But anyway, so I got a Picard in his Generations uniform. So that was kind of cool because it's part of the 3-pack. So I put him in my engineering set with Geordi with his Generations uniform. But then I got the Chief O'Brien, TNG uniform. So I put my Chief O'Brien in my bridge set. So he's in the back at the engineering aft station.
Yeah, I've been seeing you post those pictures of the. It looks really good.
Yeah, so I took a couple pictures with the engineering set and the bridge set. It looked really cool. So that was kind of fun to and gotten a couple Insta likes. So it's just cool. People are appreciating it.
So I'm just thinking about this now. Other than like the first season when they just had people around and they didn't really have set places for them, like I can't remember. And I'm sure he was, but I don't remember O'Brien being on the bridge that much.
I was just thinking that when I put him on the bridge.
He's on the battle bridge a lot. He's usually on the con.
The only episodes that I remember him on the bridge is Disaster.
Yeah.
Because he's sort of basically Troy's XO, for lack of a better word. And then I think, no, I was going to say Descent, but that's not right when they have. But yeah, because I think like he's never on the bridge. So I was like, oh, whatever, though.
That's fine. That's cool. Nice. Also this week, talking about things that have just been revealed, we are getting, believe it or not, our 15th new Star Trek show for CBS. Apparently,
you jest.
It's not going to be CBS All Access anymore, is what I'm hearing, or they're rebranding as something, whatever. I don't know exactly what's going on, but that their streaming service is now going to be something else, and we're getting another new Star Trek show. The one a lot of fans clamored for with Pike and Spock and number 1, and it's going to be called Strange New Worlds. So how do we feel about that?
Star Trek Snow.
Oh yeah. Wasn't there a fan film called Strange New Worlds? I feel like its Google ranking is about to plummet. Where
it's a and I only know this because Chris Jones tweeted it as a reminder. I'm like, oh, that's true what he said. That it's a fan. Or in other words, the publishing company who has Star Trek accepts fan stories and publishes that at Strange New Worlds.
That's right. I knew it had been used in some capacity.
Okay. Well, now it's going to be an actual show with people, live people. Ethan Peck, the guy, can't remember his name off the top of my head now.
Anson Mount.
Anson Mount, thank you.
And then
Rebecca Romaine. So I was a fan of Pike. Is probably one of the best things to come out of season 2 of Discovery. So I would say
Not
moderately.
counting Spock shuttle.
Yeah, moderately excited about this.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, and I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said, but like this fascination with the TOS timeline, because I mean it's been a while. I mean, because we had JJ verse or Kelvin universe, which is all TOS. Then we had Discovery, which is pre-TOS, but it's basically TOS. 10 years, whatever. It's TOS, and so now we're gonna have another one that's the TOS era, which I mean, I think there's a lot of times, even if you don't want to go Picard or post Nemesis. I mean, you have the Enterprise B time. You don't have to do Enterprise B, but I'm saying you have the Enterprise B timeline, the Enterprise C timeline. There's that big gap we can always fill. Even the Enterprise A timeline isn't that fully, expanded. But I mean, whatever. I'm not complaining. It's again, I was as fascinated by Pike as everyone else, so I'm interested to see where it goes. And again, I'll even further be that guy, or they've apparently announced or teased or rumored that it's going to be episodic, and so I'm like, okay, yay.
More episodes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm
Yeah.
sure it'll still have overarching plots, but not so much as Spock shuttle will dictate.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like the whole premise is strange new worlds, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that's a return to form and maybe something that I could look forward to.
That's true.
Get back on track, visiting a new planet every week and having some crazy adventure. I'm on board for that. If that's the direction they go, I don't think they will. But if that's what they're implying, then I think that would be fun.
That's a good point. Like, I'd say to fully be episodic, you would have like you said, an unknown amount of time has passed between episodes, and we're at a whole other planet. Like, it's very disconnected in that way, which is good. I mean, that's how original Star Trek was. But
Yeah, and interesting. And again, I'm not saying fan service or anything, but I'm saying as far as how you can tackle it, that it can sort of be a TNG transition, in as much as like aliens that in TNG are established, but that we never saw in TOS. And even if you want to go to Enterprise, like a Denobulan or something, but like they can explore that as far as either like, aliens that apparently were there the whole time that we never knew about in TOS, and show them again or something like that. So like if you could do TOS again, what would you add now that we have a whole Star Trek universe that has established timelines and races and everything?
Yeah. I'm down for it. I guess we'll see what will happen. But it also appears that this may have, and of course this is preliminary information, seems to have bumped a bit of the schedule of the Section 31 Michelle Yeoh show. We will see. We're not sure. But
she's still stuck in the 31st century or whatever, so maybe they just have to wait for her to get back.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe
as far as we know,
yeah.
We don't have I guess they're still working post-production on Discovery, so we don't have a premiere date yet. So
yeah, we're not sure where that's going to be going either. But anyways, so yeah, that's not. So that just is a great segue to talk about Section 31. And guys, I realized we never had a topic just talking about Section 31, because honestly, it is a bit of a controversial subject. People seem to be on one side or the other of it, at least as far as I've come across. And I want to talk about it because it's dense and complicated, and there's a lot to dig into, I think. And I just want to start with basically what are your feelings, your base feelings about Section 31? And I'm going to start with Philip because he has very strong opinions, and his feelings are so strong they leak out as soon as we bring up the topic of Section 31. But Philip, we'll get into it, but just you can just a top level view of why you have an issue with Section 31.
Well, I guess it was, to me, an over-reliance on Section 31. So in other words, I'm not telling you anything people don't know. It's introduced in DS9, obviously, and it's played with several times. And, we can talk about successfully or not. But then in subsequent series and movies, they keep going back to it. And I'm not sure what the fascination is. Because I get people are fascinated. It's personally just me that doesn't get it. But, it's sort of like the Mare universe. We keep going to it. And I'm like, yeah, no, it was cool. But don't keep going to the well.
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously my broad challenge with Section 31 is that I'm a Federation is utopia. Let's explore those kinds of ideas. And so Section 31 is like, no, utopia is not perfect. Federation's just corrupt like everyone else. I'm like, well, okay. I mean, that's not why I'm watching this.
That's fair. Darren, do you agree, or do you love it, or do you fall somewhere in the middle, or?
Yeah, I feel it. It's, the funny thing is, of all the times they didn't go to the Section 31 well, it was Picard. Because of all the times, like, well, of course it's Section. Oh, it's not? Oh, okay. It's our other
Romulan
crazy.
Section
Yes,
31.
Romulan.
That's what it
it's
was.
basically, yeah. No, I agree. I think. I agree with what you're saying, Philip. There's a little bit of kind of dipping into it too often, and it's not fresh enough each time. But there's also, hey, let's keep exposing the dark underbelly of the Federation. Like, okay, like that's not really, I heard someone kind of comment about Star Trek in general that, Star Trek is optimistic. Star Trek's not perfect. Everyone's not perfect within that world. They make mistakes and they make good and bad judgments, but there's that underlying hope and optimism of a better future that we're kind of sliding away from into like everything's, it's got the technology, but besides that, it's just, same old humans messing things up, and I want it to be a beacon instead of, flash forward. Except for the Bell riots, because then we all know those are coming. So,
and I guess one thing, I know we'll explore this as we talk about specific examples. I don't get why they had to invent something. So, in other words, they're Starfleet intelligence, and we've gotten some episodes like Pegasus and other ones. Even I'm trying to think like maybe Nechayev and the Maquis or something, where like many fiction and nonfiction, the intelligence services can be shady at times, right? CIA certainly has done weird things. But anyway, I don't know why we have to like create something separate from that. Like there's no super secret agency in real life. Like, there's secret stuff in our intelligence service. I mean,
it could
America,
be Starfleet
but
intelligence, but they just, you instantly are kind of just cautious with
secret.
them. Not because they're bad, but just because they're an intelligence. That's their nature.
Because then it's almost like a secret police kind of Nazi thing or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm really torn on Section 31. I both like and dislike the original concept. Like in Deep Space Nine, I like the idea of the organization as one that is totally unsanctioned by the actual Federation. That way, you can kind of get away with you're talking about the utopian government. It gives plausible deniability to Starfleet and the Federation for the most part. Like they don't know we exist, and like depending on how you push that shadowiness and secretiveness, you can literally have them just. You could even like represent them kind of as like their own splinter group almost, where they don't get any sort of resources or any sort of.
Right, it felt way more
support.
clandestine and secretive and small when we were first introduced to it. And then by the time we get to like Discovery, it's like the fifth branch of the military, and it's like
exactly
exactly, sure.
It's much more interesting to think that Sloane is at the head of like 1,000 people across 1,000 spies across the
and you do like the cells, like they don't know each other. They're independent.
That's much more interesting to me than we built a secret Klingon warship behind Jupiter, or we have an entire fleet of ships. Everybody knows we have our own comm badge. Like that. Like that to me is infuriating. And like it's like,
it's funny. It's like almost like the and I'm talking about everything that's already in media. I'm not saying anything that's beyond that. But it's kind of like in Discovery, at least. Section 31 is like the Delta Force of Starfleet. Like, we can't admit it, but like you have a badge that we can see clearly.
Right.
I mean, it's not that's secret.
And the problem is too, it's like the idea of Section 31 is too easy, I think, for lazy writing and too easy to use for like just to throw it in there to
Right.
make everything seem spooky
Have
and secret.
good
Like,
people have to make tough judgment calls. Don't make evil people have to make tough judgment calls because they're going to pick the evil option. It's like, oh, I'm surprised that the mustache twirling villain made the evil call.
Because I was, and I won't get into my specific example of what I watched for this assignment, secret assignment, that tested my loyalty and had to make hard decisions about. But like, I'm trying to think, and this is what this whole episode's about. In Section 31, what you were just saying, it would be interesting to see a Section 31 perspective of someone who bought into the premise,
right,
and was coming at it in a way that didn't seem evil,
right.
You know, or that
they're
one
the hero of their own
heroes-
story. They
Yeah.
believe in what it means.
But like even our heroes, whether it's like a Bashir or a Reed or a Michael or something, whoever gets recruited, that isn't just like, oh no, this is clearly an evil organization, I'll work with them only to destroy them. But like they actually buy into it, not in a brainwash way, but in like, okay, kind of like, as an example, and I don't remember the episode, but DS9 with O'Brien, it was the Orion Crime Syndicate, and like he had like the friend, and he was undercover, and he like took the dog or whatever. I mean, even though, so like they were bad people, but they were people,
Right.
You know, it kind of like with Roe, with the Maquis, you know, terrorist. Don't get me started about the Maquis. But anyway, you know, terrorist. But you can kind of get and I hate to do it both sides, but you can kind of get a both sides of like, because every organization that's like that has extreme elements. There's the true believers, and then there's the people who are just extremists. And so I'd be interested to get more true believer Section 31s than just like, yeah, you know, we're there for the security of the Federation. We'll do anything. I mean, well, okay. What does this even mean?
Yeah.
so I wanted to go over basically how much Section 31 we've seen. And honestly, it's not that much, really. We see 3 episodes in Deep Space Nine, who introduces the concept.
Seems
then
like
we
more.
get... What's that?
It almost seems like more.
No, it's just the 3. And it's the 3... I watched 2 of the 3. And by the way, I know you would love... One of the episode titles is your favorite, Philip. It's Inter Armor Enum Silent Legis. It's one of the crazy, ridiculous ones. But
when you go full Latin, that's when you know you got problems.
yeah. And it's all one storyline. Like, it's basically the Sloane storyline. And so anyways, then of course we see it again in Enterprise.
I did Affliction and Divergence is what I watched.
Nice, okay.
And apparently also referenced in the finale 2-parter, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but the one with the same guy that was in Into Darkness.
Oh,
yeah.
Terra Nova and
Terra Nova.
yeah.
Yeah, and Terra Prime.
Terra Prime,
Yeah,
yeah.
Prime, something, anyway. But they're not like a major player, but they're referenced in this part of the list. So, yeah.
And then of course we get the reference in Into Darkness.
Yeah, that's
which we'll talk
what I
about.
watched.
You watched the whole movie?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about it. And then of course all of the references in Discovery, which are plentiful. I mean, it's by far the most in terms of volume that we see in Star Trek. So let's start at the beginning. So we all watched something. Actually, I want to start with Into Darkness. Darren, what did you think did you remember? Was it like a thing that you remembered that Section 31 was a big part of the thing? Or
it's interesting because it felt less Section 31 and more just a Badmiral. Like, Marcus doesn't seem really to be like, not like Sloane. Sloane was like in the shadows. This is like, I'm the head of Starfleet, fleet. And I got my secret ship on my little, Eagle Moss lineup, on my desk. But yeah, so it felt less, in the shadows and more just a Badmiral though. But it was fun kind of just seeing, because you have like the bomb that goes off in which I'd forgotten, that's the Kelvin Memorial Archive, which is kind of cool that they named it after the Kelvin. And yeah, again, just, cool use of technology, but there's just a lot of other issues with the movie, but I don't want to get into those. Sure. But, portable transwarp beaming devices and
Well, the bomb wasn't that facility.
It was
that was its Section 31
yes,
facility.
Yes, it was.
Well,
right.
It was the Kelvin Memorial Archive, but it was a front for a Section 31 place.
Like in the basement or whatever, right? Like
Of
below
the
the archives or whatever it was. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's the kind of stuff that's the kind of stuff that where everything breaks down for me. If they have like a headquarters or like a place you can go where there's people working all the time, it just seems like that's totally against the grain of what the organization is supposed to be about.
But Daniel, you cut off the head, and 3 others will take its place. Hail Section 3.
And we also so the USS Vengeance is a Section 31 ship, right?
Yeah.
That's the first
By the way,
example.
should it just be called the Vengeance? I mean, like, I feel like if you put USS, this is just Starfleet at that point. But anyway,
well, that's where everything starts to break down. You would think it would be almost pretty hard to create a starship in the Sol system that is like.
Here's the thing about space, Daniel. You have no idea how big, crazy, mind-numbingly large it is.
Well, I get, and I mean, I know,
but you're
it's
not
easy
wrong
to criticize, but a problem, a challenge with Into Darkness, is, there's good fan service, bad fan service, and I think bad fan service, a lot of that Into Darkness. So it's like, we got Khan, we got Section 31, we got Carol Marcus. You guys like this, right? And you're like, honey, when it's done well, and so, but it just seemed like, again, I think it, like Darren said, if you take Section 31 out of that, it's the same story, right?
Yeah, it's just a Badmiral. It doesn't need to be. Yeah. Oh well, and then the whole like super fake of Khan and just. I know I picked it, but I don't want to talk about it. Okay.
I mean, I guess I've never thought about it, but really under the Into Darkness like model, like that, he's a Section 31 agent, and he has been for like quite a time.
Khan
he's been doing. Yeah.
If it, like,
he's the Winter Soldier.
He kind of is, yeah.
But like Darren, you were saying, I didn't even think about it, but I mean, it's absolutely right that he's the head of Starfleet.
Yeah.
Like, who does he report to?
Like the president, maybe?
No, but like as a Section 31 agent.
He's the head.
So like,
I don't know.
But like you said, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like he could just have it funnel his own people into like Starfleet intelligence.
I mean, it's way more interesting, like Conspiracy from season 1 of TNG, where it's like these key, captains throughout this fleet are noticing something strange is going. Like that's way more interesting than like, by the full pendulum swing of Discovery, where you have the 31 fleet, and it's like no,
because it's like
too many flavors.
What's the word I'm looking for? But anyway, when you go backwards and change canon, but it's like Star Trek. Yeah, retconning. Yeah. It's like saying Star Trek 6 was Section 31. That was, Section 31 wanted to take out the Klingon Chancellor. It was Section 31, guys. And I was
right.
Like, I mean,
again, it's
does that add anything to it?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. So
exactly.
Yeah. So Into Darkness, not a great example.
Well, like you were starting to list like Badmirals, and in some of the books, they're not canon anymore, but like the TNG books that I've read, there was a big thing going on with Section 31, and Admiral Ross is one of the lead guys. But it's also Dougherty from
Insurrection.
Basically, anytime so it's like all the Badmirals, like Nechayev and Dougherty.
So they're
Ross.
unionized.
Yeah,
the Badmiral's unionized in Section 31.
Pretty much.
So, and here's a question that I wanted to put forth, and you kind of brought it up a little bit earlier, Darren, when you mentioned Picard. And I agree with you. I'm surprised that the writers could resist bringing it up in any capacity. But of course, we know the real reason, the actual reason why Section 31 was not mentioned in TNG, because it hadn't been invented yet. But do you like do you have a headcanon reason why, like, is Picard too much of a?
I'm thinking what it's going to eventually come down to is Section 31 goes through seasons of time where it's like overexposed, and then it just hunkers down and kind of like goes silent for like a couple decades, which should kind of explain how, it's very prolific in the time of Discovery, but then, in Enterprise it's more, sneaking around, and then same with like TNG, but then it kind of resurfaces around Deep Space Nine time.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. But
well, yeah. And I'll just say this one last time. Again, I just don't get. To me, it could just be a section of like, and I don't know if you want to use DS9 as an example, but for instance, I liked the head fake because it was still new. So where Sloan, they're like, oh, we did research. He's just like some guy, like he's some low level. I forget what the episode says he is, but he's just some like low level intelligence guy. Like, wouldn't that have been cool if that was really it?
Right, like. Well, if they stuck to their guns, that like that's what I kind of wish they did. Where it's more of like a ghost organization where you kind of question whether or not like stuff really happens, or like, well, maybe it is just some crazy guy doing these crazy things or whatever,
It's like, and I'm forgetting the name of the organization. It was mentioned in West Wing. I don't know if you remember it, or one episode. DARPA. Aaron might know this. DARPA, it's the defense agency that makes these crazy things like mind control, or like, but like that's their thing that they do, like in real life. I mean, that's what they've done. They play with these things. But like, if that was the Starfleet, I could buy that. If that was the Starfleet kind of crazy agency that kind of did crazy things, but it's this small part of intelligence services. But there's some elements in there that take it too far. But I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I buy the idea that there is like a group of people out there. You could even call them like, I don't even like galactic. What are they called? Oh, what are those people called? Sovereign citizens or something like that. Where
goodness,
like,
yes.
where like they take the founding document, they take the charter, and they're like, there's Section 31, and Section 31 means we could have carte blanche to do whatever we want. Like you could push it in that direction where it's just people acting of their own accord, doing these extreme things, and they've formed some sort of secret society. And it's still separate from the Federation. It's still not like the head of Starfleet building a secret warship behind Jupiter, or it's still not, in Discovery's example, it's still not an entire branch of like what Starfleet is. Everybody knows what it is. It's just a separate branch. So I don't know. I like it as a secret, quiet, small thing. I think it works better that way.
Because Darren was saying that
Is
novels,
Section 31 a space force of some kind?
Too soon, Darren.
I loved if it was just called Space Force. But like Darren, you were saying, but I can't remember the exact Deep Space Nine episode where Bashir finds out that Admiral Ross is, I don't know, involved, I'll say. It's left kind of
It is,
vague.
in fact, the same episode I just told you about. Inter armas, silent legos, legatias. Yes, it is. Yep.
Well, because, I mean, we had been presented with Admiral Ross as kind of a
champion of virtue.
Interesting figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, good guy figure. And not that he does anything even past that episode that changes that, except for that particular episode. I mean, we see him after that, and he's fine.
He kind of breaks the Badmiral mold. He's not a Badmiral.
Yeah, except for that moment where he seems compromised. And it makes me wonder, and I'll talk, eventually about my episodes, but like, again, what's the hierarchy? Like, how does the organization even work? In other words, what's Admiral Ross afraid
You're
of?
thinking too much about it, Phil. That's the problem. You're not supposed to think about Section 31.
Well, I don't know that's true. It's really interesting the way Deep Space Nine presents it, because
That's true. And they're the originators, so they kind of...
And they are.
Yeah.
But I also disagree with kind of some of what they do. Like when they first introduced Sloan, everybody, oh God, I just watched it a day ago and I can't even get all the details straight. But I'm pretty sure everybody meets him.
Right.
And if they don't, they're all well aware. At the end of the episode, Bashir tells Sisko, "This is the guy. He tried to recruit me. This is the organization." Sisko comes back, says, Starfleet officially doesn't know anything. They will not confirm or deny the existence, and they say they'll look into it.
Right.
And he goes, it sounds like they're pushing it off, and we will investigate. He says next time Sloane comes, you say yes, and we will try to track it down. Sisko seems to be like the kind of person, like he seems very interested in trying to expose them. But
yet the Section 31 episodes are Bashir episodes. Right, they're not Sisko episodes.
Yeah. Right.
And then of course I would say this even if I was going to say, I don't know if I would even say this if it's Picard, but I'll say it anyway. Who's he going to expose them to? Like, in other words,
well, that's the other interesting thing about in the books. There's a huge event where like a reporter basically like cracks open the Section 31 files and does this giant expose, and so a lot of the later books are dealing with that fallout because so to answer your question, Philip, it's the public.
Because I'm wondering, we didn't often play with that, but what if we had a Section 31 episode in DS9 with Jake?
Okay.
Trying to sort of do like, Woodward and Bernstein.
He's not going to let it go.
Expose Section 31.
That'd be cool.
And maybe Sisko has to finally be like, I agree with what you're doing, Jake, but they're going to kill you. Like, I love you more than, this, like, he's got to make, and then of course Jake's all like, but Dad, like, it's the truth. And, the first filler is the truth. And once, I read this from Picard. Yeah.
Of the, because I mean, you could deal, because DS9, I know to talk smack about it, but this isn't a thing they could deal with about public transparency and democracy, really, versus saving the citizens from what
and that's
themselves.
What DS9 did really well, like you said with Jake and the news service. Like, we really start to get like, oh, there's civilians, just normal Federation citizens. And then there's Starfleet, like, because, through all of Next Gen, it's just Starfleet. Like, we don't see the other side.
Yeah. It's actually interesting. By the way, this is an interesting factoid. In that same episode where Ross, quote unquote, gets compromised, or he's aware, definitely, and certainly is playing along with Section 31, a lot of that episode takes place on the Voyager sets.
Oh,
because it takes place on an Intrepid class ship, which is really interesting.
I need to watch that again. That was a good one.
It's good. It was good.
What season and episode is it?
I was actually really shocked. The first episode takes place mid season 6, and then the other two takes place mid season 7, and then end of season 7.
That's true, because they have to go through Sloane's dead brain to find the cure for
Odo.
The changelings.
Yep. Really interesting stuff. They go to Romulus. That's cool.
I remember now that you talk about it, because that was the Admiral or the Senator. And yeah, I remember now.
Cool stuff. So let's move on from that. Let's talk about the Enterprise stuff, because Philip, I don't remember too much about it, but I remember kind of liking it, not being too bothered by it, but maybe I'm wrong. Is it terrible? How do they handle it?
So this was in the last season of Enterprise, known as we're using every fan service available season. But this is actually a two-parter. I was going to say, as known for Enterprise, but actually Enterprise is known for its three-parters. But this is a two-parter. This is Affliction and Divergence, better known as How the Klingons Lost Their Bumps.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's actually
Klingons
not like
lose their bump to Electric Boogaloo. Is that what you're saying?
There's actually, and I know, it's actually an interesting two-parter, because there's like so much going on where like Section 31's like storyline C.
They really are.
When Trip leaves the Enterprise, you see the launching of the Columbia.
That's right.
You get the introduction of Lieutenant Commander Useless as the new chief engineer. You get T'Pol and Trip have their white space. We're in each other's daydreams, but we don't realize it yet. And then you have Phlox being kidnapped by John Shuck, I guess father to the Klingon ambassador that we'll see later in Star Trek 4, because they look exactly alike. And then
that's outrageous.
You have Uncle Phil as Klingon General.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah, Dennis Avery.
And you have culminating with the earlier stuff from the soon genetically modified.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
augments.
Augments,
Yes.
yep.
So you have that augment storyline. So that's all coming together. And then the
Jeez.
reason that the Section 31 element is that Reed, we find out, is a Section 31 recruit.
Yeah, prospect.
And he's basically told by his contact to basically slow roll the Enterprise investigating Phlox's kidnapping and that it was the Klingons.
That's right, all the xenophobia.
Well, no. That's a different.
That's a different one. Okay.
It is because I thought that's what it was too, but that's actually the Terra Prime.
Poor Phlox getting kidnapped.
I know all the time. Anytime he leaves a bar. But anyway, so yeah, Harris is his contact, and then when Archer investigates, he's like, "Oh, this guy, used to work in Starfleet security, but then he just disappeared or whatever." And then it's revealed that Reed was recruited as a young ensign to do covert ops.
Oh yeah,
that's right. So he's not necessarily a prospect. He's an asset. He's a Section 31 asset.
Yeah, and again, in some ways, what I was talking about earlier with like Ross and the Into Darkness Admiral of like who they answer to, because the whole premise, at least with the Reed storyline, is he's given this directive and he has to slow roll Archer, but of course he's obviously loyal to Archer, and he's like, why can't we just tell the captain? And he's like, no. And so Reed's conflict is that he's loyal to Archer, but he has his orders. I'm hand quoting there. But to me, it's never clear, what does that mean to have your order? Like, from who? Section 31? What does that mean? So, like, if you defy them, are they going to
black site you? And
so, like, to me, that's kind of where it falls apart without knowing more about the organization. I know that's the whole point. You don't know. But, I mean, like, the mixed loyalty, like, oh, what do I do? I'm like, you tell Art. I mean, like, you're Starfleet. I don't understand. That's where I go.
Yeah, it's interesting because I would think it's when I was watching the first episode with Sloane, and he has this exposition talk with Bashir, and it's very, very clear and made very apparent to the viewer. This has been a thing since the founding of the Federation. This has
Starfleet.
Starfleet. And so Bashir specifically says, what do you mean? This has been going on for 200 years? And he's like, yes, this is written into the original charter. This has been going on the whole time. So it's kind of one of those situations where I don't mind retconning things a bit because it's actually baked into the premise. And Reed makes sense, kind of, I think, because they didn't really have much else to do with him anyways, so why not? Yeah, I don't know. I assume Reed's earlier experiences, he encountered a situation where Section 31 did something pretty terrible, and he reckons that Section 31 could do something terrible to him if he doesn't obey them, listen to them, do what they want. That's what I assume. I don't know.
It would be interesting if that was more of the element of like, remember what we did to your fellow agent, but it's just more like, you have your orders. Okay. I mean, okay. Do you? And then the larger premise is that Starfleet 31, Section 31 is working with the Klingons, this Klingon general, and to me it's unclear what the actual Section 31 interest is, because I'm like, why are they against trying to, rescue Phlox? Like, they want Phlox to give them augment powers, but it's presented that Section 31 doesn't want the Klingon Empire to destabilize. Why not? In my question. But anyway, they don't want it to destabilize because then, problems, then becomes a whole bunch of Klingons, and they don't say that, but that's kind of like you don't want any failed state because then it's just chaos, better the devil I guess, than the devil you don't. So working with Klingons, that was a whole kind of different thing for Section 31. But again, especially with Enterprise, how old is Starfleet at this point?
Yeah, it's
50 years old, maybe? Or, I'm guessing.
With what you mean, Star asterisk fleet? Because what fleet? I mean, we have a series of shuttles. Oh, these shuttles are formidable craft.
And just like the Harris contact, and again, like I said, there's 50 million stories going on. Not that makes it a bad two-parter. Just saying there's a lot going on. He's so uninteresting, and he actually just plays it very flat. You have your orders. There we go. No, and then even when he calls Archer later, it's like da da da, and it's just like, what does any of this mean? Like, what's this about? What's this? it's not like there's a good guy. Like I said, that's why I kind of want to see a Section 31 where we're like we're cheering for them. That would make it interesting. It's like they're just always the bad guy intrigue. I'm like, well, that's okay. I saw this on DS9. Why are we seeing this again?
Yeah, interesting. I'd like to go back and watch those episodes just because I don't remember as much.
This is the one with the Columbia and the Enterprise, and Tucker has to go between them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I said, there's so much going on in this thing.
Is it because the throttle was stuck open or something like that?
Well, when the Klingon augments,
that's right.
Went aboard the Enterprise, they put a virus on the thing, and then
they join their warp bubbles, and then he cables across. It's a really cool sequence.
It is. Though, I got off topic. The more I watched it, I had to struggle with the premise because the premise is they need Trip there. And then I'm like, why? I mean, like
can he not radio over?
That not in his brain that he can't tell them to do? Like he has to physically, I'll restart the warp. Like he can't just tell Colby, go on top of the warp core, press the button, go down. Like, anyway.
Yeah. All right, so then that leaves us with just Discovery, and I don't know that we have a ton great to say here. I feel like. Well, I mean, obviously, we get a lot of Section 31 in Discovery, but
I forget.
In the appearance list on Memory Alpha for Section 31, Enterprise has 4, Star Trek Films has 1, DS9 has 3, Discovery has 11.
Yeah.
So
just as season 2, right? No, I'm just kidding.
I think just in general, but
yeah, 2-3 was the first time. Wait a minute. Am I misremembering? But I thought Section 31 was mentioned.
2-3 point of light is the first mention.
No. But I remember the first episode on Discovery, and
just
they
the
were
black
talking
badges.
about the
you just saw the black badges.
That's right. It wasn't confirmed until the next season.
Because we weren't sure because all of us were thinking they couldn't possibly just have their own badge for a secret organization, but they did.
Well, but did they? Because then they never followed through in that ever. Well,
I remember that was back when like Black Alert was a mystery. Like it was all mysteries.
Oh, yeah.
Like we didn't know what anything was, and like things were bubbling off the consoles, and we're like, "What the heck is going on? This crazy ship."
How does Spock have a sister? But anyway. Well, I think if I'm remembering correctly, and it has been a second, and most of it is blocking out the whole memory. The Section 31 agent, I forget his name.
Leland?
There you go, Leland. He actually seemed interesting for a second because he was Chris's friend, right? He knew Pike. Am I misremembering? He was someone's friend.
Yeah, like he was on the edge of like he's competent, but we're not like he's probably as close as they get to someone who believes he's doing what's right in his own eyes. Like he didn't actually seem bad until he started to spiral that way, but.
And then he got took over.
Yeah, he got took over.
Yeah, Pike knew him. That's who it was.
Because, I mean, there was a scene or two where there was some, like, you got that conflicting thing.
Right.
Or the debate is the word I'm looking for. That debate about, like, Pike's, and I'm paraphrasing, and it's been a while, so I'm probably getting things wrong. Pike's like, you're a little too fast and loose, and Liam's like, you're too by the book, But it was said in a way where, for a second, I could almost buy that there are two ways of looking at this. But then he just gets eye gouged, you go off from that.
Well, I mean, where do we even go? Because first of all, not only does it take Section 31, like the show Discovery takes Section 31 to the like craziest extreme. Like at the end, we don't even like now. There's a robot in charge. Well, I guess he's not. He's dead. It's dead technically. Whatever.
General Grievous.
It was like there was a whole fleet. Yeah. General Pike.
He has like 6 phasers.
Oh boy. That would be pretty funny actually. So yeah, I don't know. It was just too much all the time. And like they had their own ship and I don't know. It was just too much. I never cared about it. And like they just wanted to put more people in leather costumes, I think. I don't know.
And you get and I don't know, maybe this will be explored and explained in Section 31, the show or series, if it happens. But that they had the deleted scene or extra scene. It's not deleted; it's an extra scene. Extra scene of Leland recruiting the Empress, and then because then I mean that's, and I know that's it's literally what you see. I'm not. There's nothing I need to ask about it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why? Because you have the evil Emperor, and I Section 31's like, oh, this is an asset. We just can't let her be a bartender or whatever it is she was doing. But even then, I don't get the use of her.
Yeah.
And again, I'm looking through a Federation prism, not a Section 31 prism. Obviously, I need to think more. But because the whole premise of Section 31, and I'm going to try to not get too political here, is that something about the charter itself says something about like extraordinary circumstances. We must maintain security or something. But it's like that. There's that extraordinary circumstances. There's some keyword there that kind of like, but it's always extraordinary circumstances. I mean, it's kind of like we're always at war on terror. Like, so the war never ends, you know? And so it's like Section 31, I could see where Darren, you were kind of saying, where it's just maybe seasonal thing of like,
right. Like,
and maybe
they get a little too
lags.
big for their britches, and then they're like, okay, let's we sacrifice people at the top or the public facing people of Section 31. Oh, it's gone now, but we really just hunker down for 3 decades and then come back, you know.
Because to me, I feel like, and I'm reading into it, so that's an assumption, I could be wrong, that Section 31 is constant throughout Starfleet history. Whereas if it's because of an incident happens, and they're like, oh, well, let's activate the cell.
Right.
And then maybe it goes on a little too long, like you say, and then they shut it down. Another incident happens. Oh, well, guys, if we had Section 31, that wouldn't have happened. And so they, and then it just...
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's like an inherent risk with introducing this type of organization is it's easy for the viewer to watch any of them and be like, well, Section 31 could have been behind it, or there could have been some element.
It starts to become the boogeyman, and you're like, okay.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you want to avoid that. And it's easy writing, too. It's easy writing to be like, then there was a shadowy organization that did all this behind the scenes. And I think that I think if you use it for like as a conceit, if you use it as for something interesting, it can be fun. But if you just use it because it's there, which I think is what Discovery did, then it just becomes boring and bland and silly. And I don't want to like.
I mean, how was the Controls plot in Discovery not the Section 31 show? Because it kind of was.
Yeah.
Because we could sit here all day with like talking about the villains of Star Trek and what makes them interesting or not interesting. But as a bad example, so Equinox with Captain Ransom, who
good people in a terrible situation having to make difficult choices, but they make the wrong choices.
And for the most part, we're presented that they're all terrible. I mean, like his XO is like the real bad guy. Captain Ransom's the next bad guy, and then the lower crew are like, maybe they're bad, maybe they're not. But anyway, and then at the end, Captain Ransom has this very quick redemption. Like, oh no, I changed my mind. I'm good now, and then I die. But it would be better to have a villain that you can kind of like, you see the point, you see where they're coming from, and it's kind of like, not that he's even a better example, but Soren in Generations, who's also just mustache twirly as well.
Right.
But the idea that all his family has been killed and he really doesn't have anything left to live for. He just wants to be with his family, even if it's in a fantasy world. Again, I'm not saying it's the most nuanced villain, but there's a seed there that you can play with.
Yeah.
Whereas in most of Section 31, it's not. Why? Like, why is Sloan motivated? Did he have a backstory of why he's so scared?
Well, and Sloan, though, was, I think, a better villain just because he was so mysterious. Like, you didn't know a lot about him, and in a way that was better than, like, a fleet of ships show up and, it's a Section 31 fleet,
Mm-hmm.
And Sloan was great because not only that, like, you could come away, and again, I didn't watch the third episode, but from what I remember and everything that I watched this time, you could come away from it and saying he just could have been a really smart dude messing with these people.
Right.
Like he could have been like Machiavellian himself and like manipulating people, but he could have just been manipulating people and like, or maybe he has a small group of people, of followers who are devoted to him. Maybe he does really believe these things. Maybe he's an extremist, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that this is this has been responsible for every Federation of major event in the past 300 years or whatever.
Maybe he's a logic extremist.
Oh boy, let's not.
The Vulcan Section 31.
Let's not even go there. So,
well, they did have a Vulcan in the Section 31 group of leadership in Discovery, and I think he was a logic extremist.
He was, yes, which is a nonsense term that makes no sense.
Logic extremist,
but
with a big old capital X. And,
logic extremist. There's no E. It's just extremist.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but even in the Sloane storyline. And they did it, I think, was it the first episode, or the second, or even the second? I'm thinking the Romulan one, because when Sloane's getting tortured, he's like, "Oh, I'm just a regular dude," or I'm trying to remember it. But anyway,
yeah.
But I like that, leaving that where maybe it's never resolved. Is Sloane just him, and he's crazy, or is it real? Because the thing about conspiracies is paranoia can go both ways. Sometimes they are all out to get you. But sometimes it's just a crazy person. And so I think leaving that is a good DS9 touch of leaving that. I don't know. Who knows? And we could debate all day. But then we go to the well 50 million times after that. So.
Yeah. No, I like the idea of it being crazy, super secretive. Like this organization, like I said, that is just a group of people who just really believe this thing. They literally believe in the security of the Federation above all else. But it's a small group of people. And they can only do what they can do, but they are powerful enough. And that way you leave it there and you're always like, well, okay, was it real or was it not real? But once you start throwing in fleets of people and them on regular ships and they get their own ships and you're like, no.
We don't need no stinking badges.
No. You're taking it's the same thing that happened with the Borg on Voyager that a lot of people complain about. You're de-teething Section 31, you're neutering them for where the threat comes from. You're taking that threat away.
Yeah.
So really, honestly, the less you show of Section 31, I think the more powerful of an idea it is, because then you're in your head and you're like, okay, well, were they around during conspiracy, or where were they during the Borg, or what's going on now? But if they show up every 3 episodes, you're like, I don't care.
Because I feel like even in Enterprise or whatever's Discovery, whatever, the way to use it is to sprinkle it in.
Yeah.
Just like they're looking at the mystery and oh, there's something in here about Section 31 and doesn't never explain. And you're left wondering was it? Or was that just a reference to the charter? And then just play with it because that's sort of a fan theory thing. Was this a Section 31 conspiracy or was it just a casual mention? They're just effing with us.
Yeah. Be fun. Okay. Well, I mean, this was a really good topic, and unfortunately, it's never going to see the light of day. So we might as well just. I think the recording's going to.
I can live with
once
it.
We're done here. Yeah, but Darren, if people wanted to get a hold of you, talk about the Section 31 ship wall panels, how would they get a hold of you?
They can find me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram under username Dr. Sci-Fi, DrSciFi.
And Philip, if that is your real name, how would they get a hold of you as well?
Oh, I'll contact them, and they'll know it's me, because on Twitter, I'm at NC Public Servant.
And they can find me on Twitter as well, at OneUpDan. That's the number one, not the word, as in the number one spy agency, because you've never heard of me. I'm Daniel Prue.
I'm Philip Gelfus.
I'm Darren Moser.
Stranded here on some unknown planet.
Are we stranded?